So the new feature editor is going to be using a new URL that you will all log into. I'll send this out to everyone in a few minutes, but it's anrmaps.vermont.gov/websites/feature editor. And everyone is going to sign in to the same location, no matter whether you're with Fish and Wildlife, Forest and Parks, whether you're with Act 250 editing, DEC, etc. We'll all be using this same URL. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. Hopefully it loads. And what you're going to notice is that the feature editor is going to look a lot like what the Natural Resources Atlas looks like. And I know that most of you are familiar with the Natural Resources Atlas and how that works and how it performs. But we're also going to be going over some of this new functionality for editing, as well as we'll go over the basics of using these viewers in this webinar as well. And get this to load. I'm on a new connection here, starting it up for the first time. Here we go. So you'll always be presented with a sign-in, and that's because the feature editor contains data that can be edited by staff. So we don't want the public logging into this and editing anybody's data. So a lot of you, I think all of you, probably have a sign-in that you've used in the past to edit your GIS features, and you'll be using that same username and password in this new editor. So continue using that. I set up a new account for myself for today. I set up Edit Demo, and I assigned myself the Act 250 role. So for demonstration purposes, I'll be editing some Act 250 data. You also notice this Remember Me checkbox, and what this does is it installs a little cookie on your computer so that you don't have to keep typing in your username and password every time you visit the site. I don't know the exact expiration, but I believe it's 24 hours, so or until you delete your cookie. So if I check this off and I go and I navigate away from the window, and then I come back and I re-enter this URL, it should remember me and not ask me to log in again. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. You'll notice that the banner is the same as the Atlas. You get the same splash screen. The goal and the intention was to keep this as familiar to you as possible, so that there are no questions about how do I zoom in or zoom out or pan the map. You might still have a few basic questions, but keeping familiarity and the look and feel the same was very important in rolling out this new editor. So when you first load up the application, you'll notice nothing different. If I go down here and click the layers button, I'll notice that my operational layers also include data that has been tagged as editable for the Act 250 editor role. Currently, we've got the permits. We also have soil mitigation layers that is new for Act 250, and the Agency of Ag for editing soil mitigation areas. So when we first open the map, probably be interested to see what layers you have access to. Everybody check to make sure that your role has the layers that you are required for editing in these operational layers. And then obviously we have the map area over here. This is where we display the map layer section. We have the same quick tools, so if I click the quick tools, I can zoom to a town, I can choose to find an address, I can search layers, I can print a map, and then download data goes to our new open data site. So I can also open and close the toolbar, which will also look exactly like the Atlas, and that's because I copied the toolbar from the Atlas over to the feature editor. So all of the same tools that are available in the Atlas are available in the feature editor, except for one thing, and that is the editing toolbar. And you'll notice that there is only one button for editing, and that is on purpose. It's to keep this as simple as possible. We'll get to that in just a minute. I do want to quickly go through some of the basic tools. So the home button will bring us back to the home panel. We can always go back down and choose to select our layers, and then in our layer list we can toggle our layers off and on. They're all grouped thematically by program or division, and then so if I click the plus button, it'll expand the group and show the layers that are available for that particular program or division. Click the minus to collapse it. All of these are your transparency sliders, so if you need to make a layer transparent or more opaque, you can slide that. So let's try, let's see, we could do deer wintering areas. I'm going to need to zoom in. You'll notice that it's grayed out in my layer list, and that means that I'm zoomed a little too far out. So now we see some deer wintering areas showing up, and if I scroll up, I can hit my transparency slider, and that's going to adjust the transparency for that entire layer group. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this back off. And that is the basic premise of how the layer list works, toggling things on and off with the check boxes, the transparency slider, and then collapsing and expanding the group layers. We also have a way to filter layers. I don't know if anybody's interested in doing that, but if you only want to show a certain layer by its attribute, you can do that here. Say you only want to see deer wintering areas that are 200 acres or greater, you can filter that through here. I'm not going to get into that now. A tool that I created not too long ago has been helpful for enforcement and for change detection, and that's this ortho year button. And what this does, well, it's going to give me an error. I'll go ahead and fix that, but what this will do is it'll present you with a drop-down box with the years of orthos, and from that you can select the year that you'd like to show. We have orthos from 2003, 2008, 2009, 2011, 13, and 14, I believe. So when I click this tool, it'll present you with the drop-down. Looks like it's not getting a layer in this service, but when you select that, it's going to change the Bing base map with the year of the ortho photo that you need. You also have the print button, which is no different than the atlas. All of your navigation buttons, the zoom to town if you're interested in a particular town. I just start typing in a town. If I want to go to Williston, I can go ahead and choose that. It's going to zoom me to Williston. Zoom to full extent is going to take me right back out to the state of Vermont. I also have a new coordinate tool that I created where you can zoom to an XY location in decimal degrees. You can zoom to it or you can plot it on the map. The contact us will email me personally. The upload tool, you can upload a shapefile. What this is going to do is it's going to add it as a drawing in the map. I don't have an example for that just yet, but what it'll do is it'll ask for your shape files from your file system. You want to make sure that it includes the SHP, the DBF, and the PRJ file. We have a GPX data tool where you can upload GPX data from your Garmin. So if you go out with your Garmin and collect GPS points and bring it back to the office, you can take that GPX file from your Garmin and use this to add those points, those waypoints or tracks to the feature editor. The drawing tools are a little different, and frankly they are a little more restricting than the atlas, and that is one thing that we will be working on as time goes by. You'll notice that as soon as you click any one of these shapes for drawing, you'll get some new options for drawing those. One is the styles option. You can choose from any of these styles. I understand that the previous Silverlight viewer allowed you to draw in much greater detail. You could choose many different colors and outlines. These are the predefined styles that we have to offer for the drawing tool now. So it's a little more limited, but it's one thing that we hope to expand in a future release. So if I could choose a dotted transparent line to draw a rectangle here, and that's what you get. It's pretty easy. Same with circles, they're all the same. Text to draw labels. If I choose in here, test, okay, so I get my label in here, and then to edit any of these drawings, I can just choose the edit option and then click right on it. Same with my geometry. So click the edit tool. I can take any of these boundaries and I can modify them, these vertices. So I no longer have a rectangle, I have a polygon. So those can all be edited, and I can also erase them. So choosing the erase option and clicking on the feature will remove it from the map. Clear will remove all drawings from the map. I'll click OK, make sure I remove those. The identify tools work the same way as in the atlas. We have several different identify options. We have an identify point, line, polygon, rectangle. You can even identify with a freehand. If I click on the point, you'll see that I have additional options for choosing what's identified. I can choose any identified. I can choose the layers that I care to identify from. So in this case, I could choose to clear all. If I'm only interested in identifying Act 250 permits, I'll choose clear all, and then I'll go to my Act 250 permit. And then I can also enable buffered identification. So if I want to buffer my identification, say 500 feet, so I can choose my distance, 500, choose my units at feet, continue, and then I can click on the map, and it should buffer that identification out 500 feet and return an Act 250 permit that falls within that buffer. Same with any of the other tools, the rectangle, point, line, polygon. You can choose the same different options, enable buffering or choosing to identify layers. Query tools are the same. I won't get into these too much. You can choose to find features to search for a particular permit number or a particular ID of some particular feature. This will search all of those layers within the service. Query works the same way. You can choose a particular layer and then choose a spatial filter if you want. You can choose to query by conditions. So an Animal Crossing with an impact contains, a stream crossing. Click enter, and that'll query for those features. So I'm getting all the features that satisfy that query. Same works for any other layer that you choose to query for. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually closing some of these windows that I had open. You can do that by clicking the X above it. So I don't need these open anymore. I'm going to choose to close them. Find an address. We set these up to geolocate you to a particular address. So if you're looking for somewhere in particular, you can choose to find by the address. The well finder you probably won't use, and then delineating watersheds if that's something you're interested in. Got the measure tools here. You can measure lines, polygons, shapes, circles. Obviously lines are going to measure distance, whereas your polygons are going to measure area. So if I choose polygon, I can choose my units if I'm interested in any of these particular units. So meters is going to give me my perimeter in meters, and then my area unit is going to default to acres. You can change it to square meters, square feet, etc. So I can go in here and start my polygon. I click once to start my lines, and then I click to place my vertices. And when I'm finished delineating my area, I'll double click to close the polygon. It'll give me my area, 95 acres, 2,392 meters. If I want to remove this, I will use my draw tools to do so, and choose the erase tool. So if I don't want this on my map anymore, go back to the draw tools or the draw tab, choose erase, and then I'll click on my measurement, and that should get rid of it for me. So that kind of does it for the basic tools. We can go back to the map. I don't know if anybody has been using bookmarks or not, but it might be helpful if you're in a particular district or area to create a bookmark. You can click this bookmark tool and zoom to the extent from which you want to go back to. So say if this was, my district or an area that I'm working in, or I have a project in this particular area on Charles Road, I can bookmark the current extent and give it a name. So I'll call this Charles Road for lack of a better name. And always choose allow. So this is going to store this in my browser. So that way, if I go back, I close out of this project, and I want to go back to this particular area, I can go back to Charles Road by using one of my bookmarks. Also, if you're interested in changing the base map, this is the where you do that. So right now we're using the Bing base map, but if I wanted to use a topo, so I go down here on the lower left-hand corner, choose Bing base map, and then I can choose any of these new base maps. So I've got black and white orthos, US topographic map. I can click that, and it'll change it to the topo. And then I also have the gray canvas base map, so basically no base map. So these are our current options. And then once I get that ortho tool loaded back up, you'll be able to select those orthos by orthophoto year. I apologize for not having that working right now. So I'll go back to the Bing base map. What else? We've got the coordinate tools. So if you are interested in obtaining coordinates for a given location, you can click this XY down here, and wherever you hover your cursor, it will change those latitude and that latitude and longitude. So let's get into editing our features. So in this case, I'm still in the feature editor as an Act 250 editor. I have my Act 250 layer set. They're here. I can go to the toolbar, and I can do that by clicking the open toolbar and then going to the editing tab. Now, if I need to create a new feature, that's really my only option right now, and that's because all other operations are handled based off of the map tip. So we went over the identify tool, but it's important to note that you can click on any feature in the map and pull up information from it. So for this, if I was interested in figuring out what this Act 250 permit was or is on Charles Road, I can simply click on it, and it'll bring up information about the Act 250 permit, and it lets me know that it's editable. So what does this mean for editing? Well, in the lower right hand corner, you'll see a hyperlink to edit the particular feature. So if I click on this, over in my table of contents, it's going to bring up all of the information about this permit, and it's going to allow me to change it. So if I wanted to change the description in some way and say, this is part of the demo, and click Save, you'll notice that it's automatically added to the description of this particular permit. Likewise, if I'm going to remove this, I can also edit the geometry of the point or even delete it. I'm not going to delete it because this is actually their actual data, but I can edit the geometry of it, and it asks me, I can move the selected point by holding down on it and dragging and releasing to stop. So if I click on this point, I can move it to wherever I want. Maybe it's across the road, maybe it's across the road on South Brunel Road, etc. But as soon as I release on this point, it's going to set it right there. and then I close it, save geometry, done. Very, very easy. So that is how you edit an existing feature. Again, all you have to do, I'm going to close out of this. Click on the feature. It's going to bring up the pop-up about the particular feature. Edit feature. View and edit the attributes if you need to edit them. You can edit the geometry. You can delete it. You can save your changes, or you can cancel. So I'm going to cancel that. That is how you edit an existing feature. Now, to create a new feature, I use the Create New Feature tool, and then I can choose any of the features that are currently editable in the application for my user role. So in this case, I can edit Act 250 permits, I can edit the soil mitigation permits, and I have both a point and a polygon layer that I can edit. So say I want to add a soil mitigation polygon. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It's going to give me some new tools. So I'm creating a new feature. I can enable snapping if I want to snap to existing features, but I'm going to freehand this one. If I did want to snap, I could enable snapping and choose my snapping layers. So say there was an existing parcel layer. So if I wanted to turn on my parcels, I could select my snapping layers. I'm going to clear all, go down to parcels. So now I'm going to be able to snap to the parcel boundary. And you see the little bubble I get? That's my snap tolerance. So now I am creating a new feature. I'm creating soil mitigation polygons. I can snap. So see the white bubble here and the white dot? That's snapping. I clicked on that vertices. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to go up to this vertices. I'm going to click on this one. You notice what it's doing? It's just following along that parcel boundary and allowing me to create a very clean feature that will abut the parcel boundary. So when I'm finished, all of this should align itself with the parcel boundary. So I'm going to double click to finish it. So this now reverts to my feature attributes where I can add, view, or edit attributes. So this permit is, say, test 123. The name is Demo Soil Mitigation Area for Act 250 permit. Ooh, excuse me. Total mitigated soil acres. Let's see. I can get the acres by measuring. And I'm going to go ahead and measure my area here. Figure out how many acres I have. Oh man, I botched it. No. Let's see. This is real-time editing right here. Measure polygon. Let me do this real quick. See how fast I can do it. So we've got 46.92 acres, so I can enter that in here. Current site use, we'll just say mode field, plan location, I'm not sure here. And current ag use, we'll say it is. And the observed date, 12/8/2015. And so we're all set with this. I'm going to choose save. That's going to apply the edits to our server. I can delete or erase my measurement here to get it out of the way. And now you'll see, I'm going to close the snappable layers window here. My ag soil mitigation polygon is now showing up for that particular layer. So again, very simple GUI or interface for adding permits, or adding features, I should say. Again, to remove them or edit them, I can simply click on the feature that I just created. I can edit it. I can adjust any of these particular attributes and then save them, or I can even delete it. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and permanently delete this feature. And now it's gone. You'll notice that there is no save. So for each feature that you create or edit, it automatically saves it. So there's no worry about closing out the window and forgetting to save your edits. They'll save as you go. But it is very important to remember that that also occurs when you delete features. So if you are going through and you're deleting a bunch of features and then you decide that that was a mistake, as of right now, there's no real easy way to go back and undo a bunch of those changes. So it's just something to keep in mind. There are advantages and disadvantages for doing saved editing as you go. But in this case, I think it works. Let me know what you think. If it becomes a burden or mistakes are happening, I can go back, and that's a setting that I can adjust so that you can perform a batch of edits and then save them or undo them as you go. So as of right now, for each edit that you make, it's automatically saved to the server. So just something to keep in mind. So that's basically the edit tools. I mean, they work the same way as points. If I can go ahead and I can add an Act 250 permit point. It's as simple as clicking on the map, choosing my feature, clicking on the map. It adds the point. It asks for my attributes. In the case where we have drop-downs enabled, so in this case for Act 250, we might want to create a drop-down menu for the town name. But a lot of features that we have set up have drop-downs, and those will show up here, and I can just click the down arrow, and then it'll give me my list of towns, give it a permit number, district, there, the applicant, description, demo permit, again, save. It's going to save those edits to the server. So now we've got an Act 250 point over here. I can click on it. I gotta click on this one, make sure I get it. You'll notice that in this case, it brought up one of two, and what that means is that where I clicked on the permit, but I also got the parcel as well. So it'll give you a list of how many features are identified when you click on the map, and you can scroll through those with this dialog here, or you can actually find it directly here. Notice that the parcels, the edit feature is grayed out because it's not an editable feature in this session. The Act 250 permit is. So I can go in here and edit it. I can edit my attributes, change my district. I can delete it. I can edit my geometry again. Once it redraws here, click on it, drag it. If I can get it, there we go. I might have to expand the click tolerance on these so I can expand it, but you get the idea. I can delete it. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Get it off my map. Good to go. So I guess the next steps will be for me to send out the link to this, have everyone try their credentials, log into the map, try it, maybe edit some features. If you have some things that you need to go ahead and edit to try that and see if it works. If you have any questions, you can certainly get back to me. I want to point out that this new viewer will be the successor to the Silverlight viewer, and we'll probably give everyone the next few weeks to kind of work on the transition. So if you want to spread the word, let everyone know that, towards the new year, we're probably going to be eliminating the old Silverlight editor and going in favor of the new feature editor, and that includes Act 250 staff. So Act 250 staff will be using this new feature editor. There will be no longer the Act 250 editor with Peter Keibel's head on top. This will be the new editor, the go-to for everyone. So just want to make that clear. And if anybody has any questions about this particular application or having trouble, just send me an email. You can even give me a call. Hopefully everyone's login works. I think everything tested out okay for me. Obviously there are a couple tools that need some work, including the ortho photo, and we had an issue with the address. But other than that, everything should function just as it did in the Atlas. If it doesn't, like I said, just let me know. So I'm pretty much done. I think that goes over an extra 20 minutes, but I think we'll go ahead and stop the recording for brevity's sake and make sure that this gets uploaded to YouTube for others to check out. And again, if you have questions, give me a call, give me an email. I'm always here. Good luck to everyone. I think this works out great. If you have any other data that you would like to use to edit through this feature editor, you can let either Ryan, Knox, or I know, and we'll get these added in for you and set up some new accounts. I think it's a great way to edit GIS data. It's a lot easier than having to use ArcGIS and doesn't require a permit, so or excuse me, a license to use. So it ends up saving the agency a lot of money. So I urge everyone to jump on this wagon so that we can edit our GIS data through these web mapping applications. So I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, maybe we'll go over some new tools that we'll be adding. We'll do another webinar on the Atlas coming up in a couple months, so look forward to that in February, March of 2016. We've got some new tools that are coming out that are exciting and should hopefully bridge the gap even closer between the old Silverlight viewer and this new HTML5 viewer and editor. So have a great afternoon. Give me a call, send me an email. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, everyone.